Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. How to improve feelings, or how to improve how you're feeling things before you have your manifestation, right? A lot of us are wondering, how do I get in touch with that feeling? We keep talking about how important your feelings are and the whole concept of attracting or manifestation or all those things, right? We attract like feelings. That's really how it kind of plays out in the big picture. What you're sending out, you're attracting back. What we're sending out energetically is what we're attracting back energetically, right? So if you're sending out good, positive vibes in some sort of way, maybe you're thinking about Christmas, maybe you're thinking about spending time at the beach, maybe you're thinking about just taking a nice drive, whatever gets you into that happy feeling place. When you're thinking of things while in that space, you're sending out kind of more of a positive vibe, more of a happy kind of energy, if you will, that's going to bounce back. I frequently talk about what you're doing today, what you're focused on today is going to be your tomorrow. And if what you're focused on today is more in the positive genre and less in the negative, fearful, oh my God, it's not happening, nothing's happening, right? When we're in that place more often, right? That's a negative vibe. That's a negative energy. That's a negative experience that we're feeling and thusly pushing out. It's a negative focus that we're having and thusly creating more negative things tomorrow. So a lot of people talk about, how can I get better at this? It's a great question. It truly is. And considering how important it is to the whole manifestation process, it's, I think, worth certainly a few minutes to spend some time and try to see how we can get a little better at this. Now, one thing that I think a lot of us do as a mistake right off the bat, even those that are reasonably successful at imagining and getting to that feeling place, right, and feeling it before you have it, right? That maybe you're trying to feel your specific person before you've even been on your first date. Maybe you're trying to see what it feels like to be making significantly more money before you have a chance to make more money, right? It's hard to imagine what you don't have. It's hard to imagine what you've never experienced. And to a large extent, that is the part of it that makes it harder to grow to those new levels. Because, again, you haven't necessarily felt it yet, so you don't know what it feels, and the feeling is the important part. So one of the things a lot of us don't do is we don't give ourselves the time and the space to truly get into a mindset that can allow us to think and allow us to get into that space where we can feel it, where we are allowed to imagine a little bit. So distractions like the TV, turning off the TV, making sure you're not always doing that, making sure you're not just in the middle of a mad rush, got to put aside 1 minute so you can imagine things. Or maybe it is before you're going to bed and you're spending some time imagining, but you're already so tired, you're falling asleep within 4 minutes of starting your imaginal work. Well, how really into it can you get? So first important thing is put aside some time. Allow yourself a place where you're unbothered, where you can kind of just be still for a little while, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you feel you can do. It could be in the shower, it could be in bed. Again, if you're doing it right before bed and then you're falling asleep while you're doing this, which I know is common. I've done that many a time where I imagine my specific person until I fall asleep. It's usually a really, really nice, happy thought. So we do that, right? And that continues to create a wonderful little environment for us before we go to sleep, but it doesn't necessarily get us in that place long enough to feel it. So put aside some time. Make sure you're not distracted. Make sure you don't have work things. Make sure your kid's not nagging at you. Make sure you've got a moment to really give this a fair shake. Now, the second thing to really keep in mind is be patient with yourself. You're not going to be awesome at this the first go out of the gate. You're not. You're going to get better over time. And, oh no, on top of that, there will be days where you're maybe a little emotionally challenged per se, or maybe you're busy and your schedule's challenged. Maybe you've got some stresses on your mind that are making it a little hard to kind of relax and get into that happy space. This is common. This is okay. If it happens, don't freak out and just go, oh my God, my manifestation is lost. I wasn't able to get into the mood today, right? Like, no, try again tomorrow. It's okay. Try again tomorrow. Sometimes things are going on in our life, and it's really important to kind of get those stresses out of the way, for sure. So you're trying to get that energy out of you. So that's where meditation and things like that really come into play, where you can clear your mind. You focus on your breathing. I'm not talking about meditations where you focus on your specific person or focus on your job. I'm talking meditations meant to clear your mind and clear your energy. when you can get some of those stresses off your shoulders, you'll actually find that it becomes easier to get into these feeling spaces, these happier places, because you've removed a lot of the stresses and things that are typically holding you back, a lot of the things that are causing you duress or stress or any sort of challenges in regards to how you're feeling. So again, give yourself space, allow yourself to be in moods, give yourself the opportunity to clear your energy. So good quality meditations where you're focused on breathing. These are some great practices to allow yourself to even get to a place where you can feel what's going on before you experience it. Then, once you've done all that, that's when it's time to kick into some of those true techniques that many of us use to get to a place where we're imagining what it is that we seek. We're imagining that future that we don't have yet. We're imagining something that we maybe don't fully know. So how you get into that space of something you don't know is you imagine it. You imagine being with your specific person. You imagine holding them. You imagine kissing them. You imagine brushing, the hair away from their face. You spend time just imagining them. And through that process, you begin to create a reality inside your mind at least, and as Goddard says, in reality too, but you're creating that scene in your mind. And as you create that scene in your mind, it gets more and more real. And as you fill in more and more of those details, as you spend more and more time with them, as you spend more and more time looking into their eyes in your imagination, right? The more you do that, the more you start to feel what comes with that. Now, if you've never felt it before, then you don't necessarily know what to expect, right? What feelings to expect. So don't go into it with any expectations. Don't go into it with any, this is what it should feel like. I read on some blog post that this is how you should feel when you do X, Y, and Z. If you're doing that, and I've said it before, who's setting your beliefs, right? I had another show I did, right? Who's setting your beliefs? If I'm letting everyone else tell me how it should be, and then I go in to experience it myself and it's not exactly how they said, then I start to feel like I've failed. Then I can't get out of my own brain. I can't imagine. I can't enjoy what I'm imagining because I'm expecting it to be a certain way. So don't expect it to be anything. Don't expect what it should be. Don't imagine what you should feel. You imagine what it is that you're trying to create. You imagine the reality you'd like to experience. And when you imagine that reality, you'll start to feel what it's like when you have it. It's not trying to create the feeling so you manifest the thing. It's imagining being in the end, as they talk about, or it's imagining living from that location. It's imagine seeing them from many dimensions. There's so many different techniques out there. It's your vision board that shows pictures or the places that you'd like to go or whatever. It's that process that gets us into the thinking place. And from the thinking place, we can start to feel this thing. So again, a lot of us come at it from a few different angles, and I think a lot of us have expectations on how this situation should be. But living in the end, vision boards, imagining from, all of these techniques are amazing techniques that, depending on how it feels for you and how it works for you, is a perfect technique. If you like it, do it. If it doesn't work for you, try one of the others. If one of the others works for you, awesome. Who cares what works for who? It matters what works for you, right? And that's one thing that's been challenging for me anyway, when I was first kind of getting into this and reading success stories and things like that. It's like, yeah, great, that worked for you, but it's not working for me. And if it's not working for me, you can have all the success in the world you want. It's not a technique that I'm going to go down. Again, I'm not as visual as some people, but I'm very like words, like audible, like words and phrases and stuff like that pops into my head all the time. That's one of my little weird things, right? I don't see pictures as much as I see words. I feel words. I hear words. Words are part of like my world, which, I'm doing this kind of stuff, my background, like, I don't know, it just seems like I've kind of fallen into the right places for someone that's really into words. But that being said, use your strengths, use what you're good at. If you've got a great imagination, then spend a lot of time imagining. If it's words for you, then do the words. Talk back and forth. Write poems. Do the things that get you connected in your way, right? So again, if words are your thing, write poems to them. Get into that feeling space of the creating of poetry and how that actually gets you feeling the emotions. And as you feel the emotions, now you're feeling what it's like to be with them. And again, it's the feeling that does the attraction. So no matter what, so long as you get yourself to a place where you're feeling love, you're feeling good, you're feeling energy, you're feeling something positive, then that means you're focused on something positive, something good, something in your future. And by focusing on that and then feeling it, now you're creating that very powerful path to that manifestation that you're looking for. So make room for it. Give yourself space to do it. Don't let other people's opinions sway you. Find your own path. That's 4, right? And then 5, I don't know, whatever. Give yourself the time. I think that's one of the big keys. I think the other one is trying so hard to make other people's things work for you. Find your thing that works for you. That's going to set all the difference in the world. And remember, it's just about getting to a place where you're feeling. Whether that's how exactly you're going to feel when you have your thing, you'll find out when you get there. But you're imagining the thing, you're feeling awesome and good because of it. That's fine. Let that be good enough because it is good enough. There's no need for it to be all this other stuff. And again, it's people having expectations of what their experience should be rather than experiencing it and then going, "Oh, now I know it." That's wisdom. Reading something in a book about an experience is knowledge, which is essentially worthless. Knowledge is cool. It gives you an idea of what you might experience, but it's worthless outside of that. When you finally walk through that door and experience it, now you have wisdom. And now that's something that's actionable, that's something that's real, and that's something that you understand and can kind of build into your matrix, if you will. It's your makeup, the way you do things. I don't mean makeup like blush and rue and all that stuff, but like rouge, I don't even know, whatever. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot of makeup terms. I guess that's probably a good thing in the big picture. Make room for yourself, allow yourself to grow, feel it, love it, and then have it. That's kind of how it all works. Hopefully this makes sense. Stay on RadioStyle. If you like, please subscribe. Click the little picture of myself, all that good stuff. Likes, shares, all comments, all those things are super helpful for the channel. So if you'd like to try to help my channel, I always appreciate those kinds of activities for sure. And if you've got any show topics, throw those in the comments below. It's always a good idea, and I read through those comments, and I'll add them to my little notebook and do future shows on them. So hopefully that makes a big difference for you. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we'll have another great show for you tomorrow. Thanks.